This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Oliver Horn. He is the global CEO of Elixinol Global Limited. It's a publicly traded company. I got two symbols for you: EXL on the ASX and ELLXF on the OTCQB. Oliver, good to see you. How you doing?
Robert, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me and giving me the opportunity today.
It's great to have you. Look, this is long overdue since we had you present at our Australia event back in November. So I'm glad we figured out the time zones for this. You know, we made it work.
Well done. Well done, us.
Well done. So anyway, this is actually our first time doing an interview together. So for those who may have missed your presentation back in November, can you provide a quick overview and history of the company, and then we'll go from there?
Absolutely. Look, we've been hemp experts, a pioneer in hemp and all things hemp for 20 years. And really, that's our heritage. We've got a global business in CBD and hemp products. We are listed, as you said, on the Australian Stock Exchange. Our majority of our business currently sits in the US, where we have a really strong team of 40 people or so in Colorado, focusing on CBD product. And then we have a European footprint in the UK, where we have a strong beachhold into European market, and then an Australian business, a really buoyant Australian business, which is a third of our business, Hemp Foods Australia, doing all things around hemp foods, seeds, proteins, nutraceuticals, bread spread, and so forth. Plus, we have our brand distributed also in South Africa and Japan through long-term relationships. So we are a truly global business. And what we have been doing over the course of the last year, with sort of the consolidation of the industry, particularly in the US, we really reset our business. We're focusing on becoming a consumer brands business, a wellness business, and really focusing on building our global Elixinol brand, consumer brand, and shedded low-value activities like bulk and private label. So we're really making a turnaround and shifting our strategy towards a CPG model in a very lean way with a capital light model to improve our profitability.
Very good. Actually, I didn't tell you this offline, but I consume hemp, the seeds. You can buy it at Trader Joe's. I put it on yogurt and stuff. It's great.
And hemp is one of those wonderful plants. It's probably the most environmentally friendly plant, in terms of CO2 sequestration. It's very friendly on the planet, actually absorbs CO2 more than any plant. It's agriculturally, it's the easiest plant to grow, very gentle on the environment, actually gives back to the environment. And you can use any part of it in plastics, building materials, food, CBD, cannabinoids. So it's really a wonderful plant to work with.
Absolutely. All right. So let's dig into some of the classic questions that you probably get asked all the time. So tell us a little bit about the products themselves. As you are very well aware, CBD, hemp, these types of products have now been around and making this is going to sound very colloquial, but making the rounds, so to speak.
Yeah.
So what would you say makes Elixinol Global and your products unique and different compared to some of your peers out there?
Yeah, look, we are highly differentiated because we've moved a long way from just pure CBD products, the oils, the tinctures. We are actually creating quite sophisticated formulations with high degree of efficacy by adding other actives, that have clinical data to it, efficacy data. So we add to our products the likes of melatonin, ashwagandha, boswellia, different vitamins and minerals, also mushrooms, Reiki. That really sets us apart. We've really taken our brand out of the hardcore CBD space into the nutraceutical space. And you see behind me the Omega Turmeric brand, which really looks like a nutraceutical product. It's not this hardcore CBD product. So blended capsules in different formats. And that really sets us apart. So I think we're going to speak much more to that vitamin supplements consumer than the CBD consumer. And we're seeing CBD as an ingredient, not just, the be all and end all. So that's one. Second of all, being a publicly listed company, compliance, quality, is for us absolutely paramount. We don't cut any corners. We can't get around any risk. We have the highest degree of compliance. We have no risk appetite there. And so I think that's the other one where you can reassure that what you get from us is, stable, efficacious, and the best possible quality. And then thirdly, what sets us apart really is our ability to operate on a global scale. There's not many companies out there who operate on a global scale, and that's a very interesting value proposition also to shareholders and investors to access all the global growth that exists and not just regional, specific regions.
And Oliver, who would you say is your closest current competition, and or is there a company bigger than yours that you aspire to be?
Look, I think obviously in the US, we're actually not that big of a company, I must say. You have the likes of Charlotte's Web, CBD, MD, for example, who are really leading the field. And if I look at one company who's really I think inspiring me in terms of how they manage their route to market and how they embrace technology is CBD MD. And I think we have a lot to learn from that company. Because they're very focused on what they know best, and they know the digital space. They're fantastic digital marketers, and we actually strive to improve our digital capability, and we have made great strides. So that's for us in the US, I think, which is a good benchmark. In Europe, it's actually very different. And Europe, it's a very fragmented startup market. Lots of small players. Nobody has more than a couple of percentage points market share. So it's not that we haven't got that. The US is 5-10 years ahead, where we have bigger players emerging, they're consolidating. And that's what in Europe, we're actually the big players. We are sort of the guys who are really now leading the field, one of the top brands there, and growing very heavily. And so we're probably setting the pace more in the US, and people are aspiring to be us, really.
Very good. And what's your background? I mean, how'd you come into all this?
Oh, look, my background is I was CEO and MD for Swiss Wellness, which is the largest Australian vitamins company. Also, is sold across the world, one of the fastest growing vitamins and supplement companies. I was running the Americas as well, the North American market, from our office there in San Diego. And so that's my background. And before that was L'Oreal and Treasury Wine Estates, which is the biggest premium global wine company. So really, it's health and beauty, vitamins, supplements, consumer goods is my heartland. And I joined the company a year ago to facilitate the turnaround, to really focus it on a consumer-led organization, to do just that job and revitalizing the company.
Very good. All right, one more question before I let you go. From what you can tell us, what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now moving forward?
Yeah, perfect question, Robert, because we've just announced to the market on Monday that we signed a binding agreement to acquire Germany's #1 CBD brand called Canobo, and the companies that we are proposing to shareholders to vote in favor for is Canacare. There are 4,500 distribution points in Germany. They're profitable or breaking even already, and they're the #1 consumer brand. They cracked the code of going into broad distribution and then having national television advertising and really driving the first true consumer brand in CBD. This market for us is huge. The German market is the fastest growing in Europe. The brand is really well positioned, and the market is set to grow at 35% CAGR over the next 5 years, and we now got a stronghold. So, pending shareholder approval in May, we're closing that in July, and that gives us a huge boost to our financial performance, both in terms of revenue and profitability. And together then with what you probably know is the regulatory environment shifting so fast in favor of hemp and CBD. I expect the FDA to regulate positively in the US, and then the European Union has decided that CBD can be declared as a food, and that opens an enormous market opportunity. And we are bang on there now and participate in that consumer and regulatory tailwind. So, I think there's plenty of macroeconomic trends, and then we have a great brand and new products that are coming out. We just launched skincare, and there's a couple of new innovations coming our way. So we are well poised for that growth.
With that, Oliver, where can our audience go and find more information about Elixinol Global?
We are a public listed company. That means we have a great website in Australia. So just to go to elixinolglobal.com, which is our investor or corporate website, and there's the investor center. And every single quarterly report, every financial, our full year annual report has just been published a couple of weeks back. So you get the lowdown. All the investor presentations are in there. It's a great depository for you to inform yourself, and we just invite everybody to have a look.
Very good. Oliver, thank you again for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. I look forward to our next update.
Robert, no, it's a pleasure being here and looking forward to the next time already. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.